from councillors? Do I see none? We're going to read a statement. It's the purpose of the public meeting, and so I'll read a little piece here, and then we'll also speak to the advertising of it. And this is read at each public meeting, so just bear with me. So the purpose of this public meeting is to present and receive public input regarding a proposed zoning bylaw amendment on the subject lands located on the east side of Wellington Road 7 in the Elora-Salem Urban Center. The purpose of the proposed official plan amendment is to change the land use designation of the subject land from residential to central business district. The purpose of the zoning bylaw amendment is to change the zoning of the land from R1A to C1.50.8. The effect of these amendments is to add land to the central business district and place them in the appropriate zoning category to permit commercial use. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Centre Wellington to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, which is LPAT, but the person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Centre Wellington before the official plan amendment is adopted, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Centre Wellington before the official plan amendment is adopted, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of any appeal before the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal. That's LPAT again. Unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision to the Township of Centre Wellington to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral or written submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Centre Wellington before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission, keep going. Okay. At a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Centre Wellington before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, unless in the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. If anyone wishes to be notified of the decision of the Township of Centre Wellington in respect to the proposed official plan amendment or proposed zoning bylaw amendment, a written request must be filed with the municipal clerk of the Township of Centre Wellington, 1 McDonald Square, Laura, Ontario, NLB 1SO. If the official plan amendment is adopted, it will be forwarded to the County of Wellington County for approval. And if anyone wishes to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the County of Wellington in respect of the processed official plan amendment, a written request must be filed with the Director of Planning and Development Department, County of Wellington, 74 Woolwich Street, Guelph, Ontario, N1H 3T9. Now, if I look to the clerk, how was notice given?
Through you, notice was mailed to prescribed persons, agencies, and public bodies on December the 12th, 2019. A copy of the notice was also placed in the Wellington Advertiser on the same date. I can hereby confirm the requirement for giving notice was completed on December the 12th, 2019.
Thanks, Carrie. And now I'm going to ask Sarah Code if she'd mind coming and giving us a presentation. Welcome, Sarah.
There we go. Good evening, Chair, members of committee. My name is Sarah Code. I'm a senior planner with GSP Group. We are the land use planning consultants for Elora South Inc., also known as Pearle Hospitality. Mackenzie Meek is also with me of Pearle Hospitality this evening. So the subject site that the official plan and zoning bylaw amendments are for is before you on the screen. It is located east of Wellington Street 7, south of the Grand River. It's a consolidation of 6 single detached residential lots, which totals approximately 0.56 hectares. The site was acquired by Pearle Hospitality in 2013 after the adjacent Elora Mill South lands were purchased. And these properties were formerly referred to as 15 to 25 Ross Street. However, Ross Street has since been closed, so these municipal addresses are no longer relevant. So this is the site that is subject to the official plan and zoning bylaw amendments relative to the overall master plan. So this area has been shown on the master plan for some time. These amendments would just permit the development of some parking and one retail building. So in the official plan, the site is currently designated residential, which obviously recognizes the historic use of the site. The official plan amendment would redesignate the site to Central Business District, which would ultimately extend the Central Business District that exists to the north, east, and west of the site. The official plan does have policies that permit the expansion of central business districts. The site is currently zoned R1A, which permits single detached dwellings. The zoning bylaw amendment proposes to rezone the site to C1.50.8, which is central business district, with a site-specific that permits banquet halls and assembly halls. So that is just an extension of the C1.50.8 zone that exists to the north as well. So it is our opinion that the applications are consistent with the provincial policy statement, conform with the growth plan, conform to the county official plan for lands within the urban center, conform to the township official plan expansion criteria policies, and the central business district objectives. It's our opinion that this represents a logical rounding out of the central business district to permit a pedestrian-friendly mixed-use development. Thank you, and I would be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thanks, Sarah. Do you want to do delegations first? Sure. Well, actually, are there any questions from council while Sarah's here? Councillor McWay?
Thanks, Dave. Just wanted to clarify, it's for parking and a retail site of some sort?
Yeah, so the area of the development, as shown on the master plan, would permit parking and actually a portion of a retail building.
Okay. As a follow-up, thank you. So if this is the rest of the site now considered commercial?
There's a portion of it that is mixed use, and then there's a portion of it that is central business district. So the
Okay.
lands abutting it are central business district.
My eventual question is going to be, and this is maybe for Brett, does making it part of the central business district automatically bring it into the BIA, or does that have to happen as a separate function?
Like BIA is a bylaw, so it would, the lands aren't automatically added. So the BIA area is a bylaw that has to be passed to enlarge it.
Thanks. Councillor McCray?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Sarah, the proposed retail building, are there plans to have residential above it?
I don't believe so, but I will have Mackenzie confirm.
There isn't, no. So just retail on that building.
Thanks, Council. Other questions? Okay, thanks, Sarah and Mackenzie.
Thank you.
We're going to ask, there was no delegations registered, but I would like to ask if anyone present in the audience would like to speak to this application. Okay, yeah, come on forward, and we just need your name and address. No, come to the podium, please, yeah. Even though we know your name, but.
Sadly, you know my name. So it's Stacy Barron, and I'm a shop owner downtown. My business has been around for 35 years. And I guess maybe my question is a little bit of part of what Mr. McCray asked, which is maybe why isn't there any residential going above the store? We seem to have a bit of a crunch right now, and it seems like an awesome opportunity to create more housing, even for their own staff. I didn't think you were going to ask us if we could, so I'm just going to go sit and think a little bit more. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Stacy. And, yeah, Brett, if you want to speak to that first? Thanks.
Yeah, just to add, they've indicated that that's not in their plans at the time, but the zoning will allow it. The C1 zone does allow residential units to go above commercial. So the zoning they're seeking will enable them to do that. So that opportunity will be there with the zoning amendment that's passed.
Okay, thanks. And I'm sure they can hear that as well in the audience, so we'll see where that goes. Are there anyone else would like to speak to this application at this time? No? Seeing none, then we'll just adjourn. Okay, we'll adjourn this public meeting. So thank you very much to everyone who's come. Okay, meeting is adjourned. Okay, we have a second public meeting, and I'll call this public meeting to order. And I'll look to council again for a declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, if there are any in this public meeting. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to read the purpose of this public meeting. So the purpose of this public meeting is to present and receive public input regarding a proposed zoning bylaw amendment on the subject lands located at 36 Rea Drive, Fergus, and 99 Farley Road, Fergus. The purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is to change the current zoning of a portion of 99 Farley Road, Fergus, from IN, which is institutional, to R3, which is residential. The effect of this part of the amendment is to permit a cluster townhouse development. The parcel located at 99 Farley Road, Fergus, was created as a result of the Wellington County Land Division Committee application B85/17. Secondly, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would change the current zoning of a portion of 36 Rea Drive, Fergus, from OS, which is open space, to R3, which is residential, and R4 residential. The effect of the amendment is to change the zoning of land to match the zoning of abutting parcels that are already zoned R3 and R4 respectively. So if a person or a public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Center Wellington to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, which is LPAT, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or written submissions to the Township of Center Wellington before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Center Wellington before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. If anyone wishes to be notified of the decisions of the Township of Center Wellington in respect of the proposed official plan amendment or proposed zoning bylaw amendment, a written request must be submitted to the municipal clerk of the Township of Center Wellington, which is at 1 McDonald Square, Elora, Ontario, NOB 1SO. I'll look to the clerk and ask how notice was given.
Through you, notice was mailed to prescribed persons, agencies, and public bodies on December the 12th. The copy was also placed in the Wellington Advertiser on the same date. I can hereby confirm the requirement for giving notice was completed on December the 12th, 2019.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. And we also have Nancy Shoemaker here to make a presentation on behalf of this applicant. Welcome, Nancy.
This one? Thanks. Good evening. My name is Nancy Shoemaker. I'm the planning consultant representing James Keating Construction on this application. This is the Beatty Hollow subdivision. The purpose, which has been pretty clearly stated, is to rezone Block 19 from institutional to R3 to permit a 14-unit clustered townhouse development, and to rezone a portion of blocks 21 and 22 from open space to R4, and the smaller portion to from open space to R3. Just a bit of background. The Beatty Hollow subdivision was draft approved in 2013. We've registered the entire subdivision now over 3 phases. Prior to registering the third and final phase, Grace Christian Fellowship Church indicated that the land that they had acquired through the registration of phase 1 was much larger than what they actually needed. And so we went through the process of a lot line adjustment, and a portion of their lands was conveyed back to James Keating Construction to come back into registration of phase 3. So that is what we're referring to now as Block 19. So it's the surplus land, and that's why it was previously zoned institutional, and we're seeking a rezoning. In addition, after registration of phase 3, blocks 21 and 22, when we considered the plan initially with the township, they were to be conveyed to the township for the purpose of a water main loop and an emergency or temporary access connection. Once the plan was registered, the township thought that perhaps they didn't want to have ownership of these lands, and rather they'd secure the water main loop and the emergency access by way of easement. And that has now been completed. The easement is in place for infrastructure. The requirement for the emergency access or temporary connection is no longer required because the Sabera has now proceeded with Storybrook East subdivision, and these 2 subdivisions now have a link in them. This is just a preliminary site plan showing the 14 townhouse units on Block 19. They're immediately adjacent to the park, which is just to the east of the lands. Did I skip something there? When reviewing the application, we looked at the provincial policy statement. The focus of that provincial policy statement is that settlement areas are to be the focus of growth, and intensification should occur in these areas. So we believe the subject property is consistent with this policy. It is within the settlement area boundary. It promotes housing intensification, and it maximizes the efficient use of land resources and infrastructure. The Growth Plan 2019 has very similar policies, again promoting growth within the delineated built boundaries, having urban areas that have existing municipal water and wastewater service, and promoting the complete communities aspect of development. So, as noted, the lands are within the settlement area. It will have a moderate increase in residential density for this area, and we will be using existing infrastructure that's been scaled to accommodate this development. The Wellington County Official Plan has designated the lands as being within your urban system and as an urban center. The plan again suggests the majority of growth is to occur within these urban centers. It encourages cost-effective development patterns, again maximizing the use of existing planned water, wastewater, utilities, and transportation systems. Here, the OP identifies opportunities for intensification and encourages increased densities in greenfield sites, and this would be considered a greenfield site. So we believe that this application conforms with the county official plan. And again, the Centre Wellington's official plan is very similar in terms of policies. The application will result in a density of 25 units per hectare, which complies with your minimum density requirements. The sites will include adequate on-site landscaping, screening, on-site amenities, parking, and stormwater management. Services are available and adequate to the site. The apartment site is located on a major collector road. The townhouse site is on a local road, but designed to accommodate 14 additional units. And we believe that it's compatible with the mixed-density residential development that has been approved and is being constructed in this area. So, again, the cluster townhouse block, which is shown in, maybe I can show this on here. This is a, oh. I lose myself on this screen. Wow. Let's call it the northwest corner is the cluster townhouse block, and it generally fits within the existing character of the neighborhood. We have on-street townhouses on Rea and some single-family houses on the north side, on streets on the what I call west and south sides. With respect to Block 21 and 22, the water main or infrastructure easement has been secured by the municipality. So it makes sense for the larger, what is highlighted in green, to be rezoned from the open space, added into the apartment block and zoned R4, and then the smaller red strip to be added into the on-street townhouse block and zoned R3 for townhouses. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Good, thanks, Nancy. Any questions from council? No? Oh, sorry. Councillor McElwain?
Could you just put the picture back up, please? So, if I understood you correctly, and I can't remember this from the last time around, but to the east is green space? Is that the park? Is that what you said?
To the east of the apartment block, yes. The cluster townhouse block, the larger red block.
Okay.
Yes.
And then to the north is?
Grace Christian Fellowship Church.
Okay, and to the west is part of the other development?
To the to the west is, yeah, let me just go back a few. There, to the west, you can see the Storybrook East subdivision.
Okay, that's what I thought. When you say you can see, that implies that I can see it and I can't. It's a little too small for me to read,
Oh,
so that's what I
sorry,
was
yes.
checking. Yeah. Okay, thank you, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay, other, Councilor McCray?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Van Loon. So I'm just to clarify, so blocks 21 and 22, which basically is the old railway corridor, the plan is to turn that into residential to accommodate more space for the future proposed apartment building there?
That's correct. It would be that, two-thirds of that block, or maybe three-quarters of that block would be at, blocks 21 and 22 would be added to the apartment. Would still respect that 7.5 meter setback that has been deemed appropriate for apartments from other land uses. The smaller quarter would be added to the on-street townhouse block, just respecting that lot line that comes down.
Okay, no, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, council? No? Thanks. Do you mind shutting off your microphones as well, Kirk? And then, no, appreciate it. The, okay, thanks very much, Nancy. Also, at this time, there's no delegation registered, but is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this application at this time? Okay, seeing none. Then I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and we'll call this public meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.